What I propose to do today is first of all give you a slideshow of things around the building and, more importantly, the building. I'll tell you various things about what's happened in the past and the history of the place, and then we'll go and have a walk around and see what I've been talking about. Okay? West Bromwich Town Hall, walk and talk. As I've just said, I'll do a talk with slides around the building. I must ask now if anybody's got any photographs of anything around the building or around this immediate square of buildings that you don't see on the screen. I'd be very pleased to borrow a copy or have a copy, okay, for future reference. If you have got anything historical about West Bromwich or Sandwell, I've got to ask that you present it to or let the archives see what you've got, because there is quite a display being built up. I was at a, never mind where I was, but I was at a presentation recently, and it's the second time I've been to a presentation with this particular person. At the end of his show, he said, if you've got anything, let me have it. That's not the way it works. We want it for everybody, not for the single person. Okay. Right, so 3. Probably the best place to view the building is across the way at the Gardens of Remembrance, looking across the High Street at the building. If you look at the building there, you can see the several different ages and rebuilding of different parts of the building. That's the original, that's all it is, and there is where we are now. Okay, that's the building. 4. West Bromwich Town Improvement Commissioners, that's before there was a council, 1854 to 1882, purchased prime land which was previously part of West Bromwich Heath from the Isons family, who were local ironmasters, for the erection of public buildings. The site is bounded by High Street, outside the door, Victoria Street, Edward Street and Lodge Road. Lodge Road, slide 5. Before I talk about the Town Hall, I will lead you round these streets and starting from the building next to the Town Hall and in a circular walk. Everything I speak about will be on my right hand side when we're walking around the place, as it were. Slide 6. Right, the original buildings incorporated the town civic complex, which includes the town hall. Remember, the town hall is that big room over there, not all the building. The town hall is a particular room. There's the town, what we know as the town hall, and there's the original West Bromwich Market Hall. The Market Hall stood on the present library site and was completed in 1874, with Saturday as market day. It was very unsuccessful, as it was in the middle of the West Bromwich High Street, and local people preferred the then existing indoor market hall. Remember the black wooden building? Some of us remember the black wooden building, which was built between the High Street and Paradise Street. That building was much handier for shoppers, as was Carter's Green. So the centre of the town, the Golden Mile, which we used to know the road outside as, the centre was on a Saturday pretty deserted. 7. The old West Bromwich Market Hall was demolished in 1899 to make way for the new Free Library. What may be considered as the first West Bromwich Library was founded in 1783 by the Reverend Guy Osborne, a Methodist minister at Swan Village. That was held at the Swan Inn, Black Lake, which stood about a mile away to the west, that away. The first true West Bromwich Library was built on the present site following the Public Libraries Act of 1850, which gave local boroughs the power to establish free public libraries. That building was superseded by the present library building, which dates from 1907 and was erected partly on the Market Hall site. Sorry, it was erected partly on the Market Hall site. The building had considerable financial assistance by a grant from the Scottish philanthropist Andrew Carnegie. Most towns like to say that Andrew Carnegie financed the library. He assisted on the finance. He didn't give lock, stock and barrel. Is anybody coming in there? No. Okay. He gave a considerable amount of money, but it wasn't all by any means that the library cost. The building was constructed of Reuben facing bricks with Portland stone and terracotta details. And the library is a fine building and holds many murals with classical references, stained glass, ceramic and mosaic works, and of course there's a lot more in the cellars and attics and things other than what's usually on display. The architect was Stephen Holliday of West Bromwich, and the library is now a listed Grade 2 building. 8 please. Until very, very recently, and I mean about 3 weeks ago, you'd have seen that building next to the library. That was the gas showroom, erected by the Birmingham Gas Authority, who held the licence for the, remember the gasometers down at Swan Village? Some of us do, yeah. West Bromwich, Wednesbury didn't have their own gas service. It was provided by the Birmingham Gas Service, who held gas showrooms in local towns and various places. That was demolished a couple of weeks ago. There was a building there previous to the building that we know, and that was mostly demolished in the Second World War, a direct hit with a bomb. On the corner there, and for 50 yards along the street next to us, there were Victorian buildings. This corner one was used for many, many things over the years, including a restaurant. The last thing I particularly know it being used as was for wedding ceremonies and registry office, and that was in the 50s, 60s and 70s. But it's been used for many, many things. But it started life as part of Derby's Brewery. Derby's was the biggest brewery by far in the town. Okay. The corner building there was part of the Derby's office complex, and as I say, in later years, until demolition, it was used for many, many things. 10 please. This particular building, also part of Derby's, add on as they did. This was later known as Parish's Restaurant. Do you remember that? Yeah, but it was known as Parish's Restaurant. And then next to the Parish's Restaurant, next one please, was the actual place where they did the brewing. The council bought that building off Derby's and successors and used it as part of the council printing works. You'll notice Derby's Ales. That has recently, when the place was being demolished, Carol Hartill noticed and asked if she could have the bricks. She did have the bricks. They've been preserved, put in a safe place, and there's a campaign now. There's an issue going on with the Dartmouth Park. They want that as part of Dartmouth Park features. Just the old sign. As I said, Derby's Ales was by far the biggest brewer in the town. There was another one round the corner where Rothwell's Pickles is, but Derby's had over 100 outlets around the town. I've actually got a Derby's glass at home, half-pint glass, which I intend to give to Carol for hopefully part of the thing.
Is Secretary of Friends of Dartmouth Park.
Yeah, sorry. Slide. Next slide. Next up the street, and once again on the right hand side, West Bromwich Magistrates Court. The law courts in Lombard Street West were built in 1890 to the design of Wood and Kenrick of West Bromwich. The borough was granted a Commission of Peace in 1888 and were able to hold quarter sessions in 1890. That means that people, when they went to court there, as well as a magistrates court, which would give a minor fine or minor commitment, they could, instead of sending people on to Stafford or Dudley or Birmingham for trial, they could do the full trials there at the quarter sessions. The next building up the street, just along there, and one I haven't got a photograph of, became a prefabricated building which stretched from Lombard Street to Lodge Road, and that was the Municipal Legal and Finance Department. I should think everybody would remember that. If you're around about my age, when you first went for a driving licence, you had it from the local office. You didn't have to send away and everything. You went to the local registration office, and that's where I had my first licence from, and the renewal in the office just along the way here. The council did all sorts of licences. Next slide, please. I'm sorry it's not a brilliant picture, but that's the best I can get. That's the original Edward Street swimming and slipper baths. Remember, in those days, everybody hadn't got a bath at home. They got a tap outside in the square or wherever it was, but they hadn't got a bath. Tin bath, heat the water on the fire, or go to the slipper baths at the local authority. From the time the building was raised, all of the West Bromwich Council financing, the Lodge Road, I've missed something, swimming and slipper baths. I thought I'd got a piece on that and I haven't. Let's see the next picture. That's what the intern of the original baths looked like. Notice the tiered seating. Some of us have spent many hours there on election night and in the winter when the pool was covered and dances and election counts and all sorts of things were held there. Where did we sit? We sat on the raised side. Yeah? Next, please. Continuing round the building, past the other end of the finance office, we come to two town hall side entrances. And I'll be showing you those later on and giving you the reason why there's two doors next to one another. They're connected inside, it's strange, but I'll be telling you why later on. The Lodge Road from the High Street led to Warrener's Lodge, which apart from the Oak House was the only house in the area when it was still West Bromwich Common before 1801, and the Act of Union when Parliament employed Telford to make a road from London to the Irish Ferry at Anglesey, the A41, the road outside the door. Bromwich, of course, translates as Island of the Broom, from which the town got its name, and locally you will also find Castle Bromwich and Little Bromwich. Okay? Castle Bromwich, Little Bromwich. The Lord of the Manor kept the rights to take rabbits and hares over this common, where we are, and that way down to Greece Green, and kept the lodge for hunting of all sorts. The lodge was purchased in 1822 and later became the home of William Eisen, the second son of the local ironmaster. The entrance gates to Warrener's Lodge were removed to a brewery in Bratt Street, but are now sadly lost. The gatehouses to the lodge stood either side of the Lodge Road where it fronts the High Street. One was on the corner where this building is, and one was where the bank is across the way. Both gatehouses were occupied for many years by a Mrs. Baker, who was the final occupant of both of the gatehouses. She lived in one and slept in the other. It's said that she used to cross the road every morning and evening in a nightgown. to get from daytime to nighttime accommodation. Possibly the best place to view the building is from Highfields across the way, the West Bromwich Garden of Remembrance and Register Office, which was formerly the home of the Eisens family, that name again. The town hall is situated centrally on the High Street between Dartmouth Square and Carter's Green, and was built between 1874 and 1875 in brick, stone to an Italian Gothic design. The architects Mrs. Alexander and Henman of Stockton-on-Tees, Middlesbrough. The building was constructed as part of the new West Bromwich Centre, complete with Market Hall adjoining, and later, following modifications in 1905, to provide more offices and a committee room along with a free library. The architect for the extension was also Alexander and Henman of Middlesbrough. The building contractors, the people who built the building, were Mrs. Trow and Sons of Wednesbury. The corner tower rises to 130 feet, and during construction one man fell from the main tower scaffolding and was killed. That detail came from Tom Futrell, former secretary to West Bromwich Trades Council. The building was restructured in 1857 and is now a listed building. Next one, please. That's all right. The town hall public entrance, which is just to the side here, in an alcove. The double entrance doorway is located between the High Street main entrance and the town hall, and the main entrance to the public library next door. Red telephone boxes, as you can see there, located on each side of the public entrance, are GPO telephone boxes, and they individually are listed Grade 2 buildings. Following an appeal by West Bromwich Civic Pride Association in the early 1990s, when stainless steel telephone boxes started appearing around England, the GPO gave permission for those to remain on site in perpetuity. It used to be how much to make a telephone call? I think it's 15 pence now. Okay.
You were taught that when you joined the Girl Guides as well. That was
Keep
the same
in your
back
pocket.
then.
Yeah.
Used
And where the local telephone is. Public toilets. Outside the gas showrooms are still subterranean toilets, which during the Second World War were used as an air raid shelter. The toilets were closed to the public in the mid-70s. Do you remember those?
Yes,
Subterranean toilets just outside the door there.
you could tell them by the smell.
As you walk around the building, you'll see where windows have been filled in brickwork. There's some got perforations for air, but most of them have been filled in. Notice the lights to the basement, now bricked in, and the fancy chimneys up and down. Always look at the whole building, not just the bit that's in front of you. Notice the several points around the building where gas lighting brackets were fitted. Of the original complex, only this building remains where we are. It is of brick and stone in Italian Gothic style, I've told you that. The building has a cast iron substructure, cast at Smith Road, Wednesbury, the same company that cast the ironwork for the Crystal Palace. People keep telling you that all the glasswork was made at Chance's at Smethwick, but the building's structure was cast at Wednesbury, Smith's Foundries. Town Hall triple arch main entrance. Notice boards either side. There's A boards outside nowadays, I believe, for most things. And last week, a local authority, and I can't remember where it is, banned all A-frame advertising boards. I've been campaigning about that for years because disabled people walking into these things. Okay. The notice boards either side of the main entrances are used for public proclamations, notices, election information, and formally for committee meetings, dates, time, etc. And of course they're also used today, as they were in the past, to advertise dances and various other things in this building. Next one, please. Entrance to West Bromwich Town Hall. As you come through the entrance towards the steps, if you look at the columns, can we go back one please, or two? That's it. The columns, that's where the door is now. They used to be open as well. But at the tops of the columns, from January to December, around the tops, are carved capitals, which were carved by Mr. John Roddice of Birmingham. He died in 1887. They portray the months of the year in a most charming and novel way, and each month personified as a person ageing as the year progresses. January, a newborn baby there, top left hand. February, a young child. March, a boy with wind-blown hair. We know the old rhyme. March, the wind doth blow. Then April showers. And he's crying, of course. Next one. May, maiden with a delightful daisy chain round her neck and flowers in her hair. June, a knight in armour, the year in full strength. July, a lady in full bloom of life. August, a man solid in middle age. That's me, I think. I hope now. Next slide. That's it. September, a man with an ear of corn in his hat. Harvest time. Now then, October. He's been drinking. After the harvest, after the corn, the barley, the apples have been harvested, he's had a celebration. October, a merry man. November, a matronly lady, and of course December, a very old man. That's not Father Time, it's just an old man. Thank you. Right. Main entrance steps and stairway rail. There are 3 ports of entry to the main entrance stairway, and each was firmly secured by iron grating above and at the sides of the gates, which were removed during the war, the same as gates were removed across England, well, across the UK, I suppose, to assist in the war effort. Notice the ridges where old door pillows stood. You can still see the fixing holes in that. They were never corrected or repaired. Some of the holes are still there. In about the year 2000, new ornate screens and gates were installed. In about the year 2000, new ornate screens and gates were installed and now protect this open accessway. They were made of steel and by the same artisan who created the Hawthorns, Jeff Assel gates. Have you seen the gates up there by the Hawthorn? Lovely pair of gates. Notice in the floor and on the walls the holes, once again screw marks where gas lighting, grills, etc. were fastened. Brass rails. The central brass rail was not part of the original building, but was paid for by a former mayor of West Bromwich, and sorry I haven't got his name. Following theft, the left-hand side rail was replaced, also a gift of a former mayor. And if you look at the rails when we go out there, you'll notice they are slightly different. Brass, composition and alloy, they can never get it the same colour. It's always just a touch different. Red carpet used to be laid for important visitors at one time. And notice the clip marks on each side where the red carpet used to go. Then the rail was put there and put a stop to that. Okay. The flight of stone steps lead from the high street through double doors and into the main corridor, which encircles the town hall. I said the big room is the town hall. The building interior, it reflects the Victorian interest in Gothic and medieval architecture. The ceilings, ironwork, walls and pillars are decorated from designs by the architects. The West Bromwich Weekly News of August 1875 stated, Harmonious blending of colours and the magnificent stencil work, costing many days of artisan work, cannot be too highly praised, and words can hardly express the charming effect that they have produced for our new town hall. The ground plan there. We will go round the building, through the door, taking in anything we can. Okay, round back of the stage, through the stage, across the front, and round this lot, then down the stairs into the cellar, or up into the other upper, whichever way round it is we decide to go at that time. But from there we'll go up and down at some time, then into the mayor's parlour, and then we'll finish at the front of the where we came into the building.